What's going on, people? I said that I'd show you how I make my little winter soup from the pumpkins that I've grown, and I had my last pumpkin, so I said I would show you, so I will. I'm not much of a cooking, it's not a cooking channel, it's a gardening channel. However, half of my pumpkin, which you'll have just seen me in the previous video save the seeds from, I'll use about a quarter of it for this. You'll have seen me drying my onions in the shed the other day in the previous video. This bad boy, so that was the last thing that I harvested last year. So I'll show you how I saved my seeds using that pumpkin, and I'll also show you how to make a lovely soup with that and the last of my onions that I've got drying out here. Cloves of garlic. The only thing that doesn't come from the garden is smoked paprika, bit of cayenne pepper, bit of black pepper as well, and vegetable stock, which I use to as the liquid for my soup. So that is it. It is very simple, and that is the reason I'm showing you how to do it. So let's get cracking. So the pot I use is probably big enough to make half a pumpkin's worth. First things first, cut your pumpkin into a quarter. Just to make it a bit easier, I'm going to cut him again, because I'm going to obviously peel it, so cutting it again makes it a bit easier to peel. And set it aside. And then I'll cut this is where the stalk was, so I'll cut that hard bit off as well. If you enjoy these videos, let me know. I've still got a couple of squash left, so I will show you a couple of things that I do with those if you like. So I cut him up into smaller pieces. Again, I blend this at the end anyway, so this just makes it easier for these pieces to take hold of some of the seasonings and spices and that I use in the soup anyway. Everything's roughly cut, nice and easy. Now, I throw a bit of smoked paprika in here, just a sliver. I don't chuck cayenne pepper in there because it's hot, basically, and it can, it's too spicy for me to be rubbing with my hands. And little salt, a little olive oil. You could use any oil, but I use olive oil. And I just work that in. You don't have to do this step, by the way. This step is optional, extra. I always do this when I roast pumpkin or squash. And I just do it when I'm making soup anyway, because I just feel like it's the flavours get attached to this now before they get boiled. Right, so that done and set aside. Couple of cloves of garlic. Everything goes in whole into the pot. do them clever like Instagram type videos where you click your fingers and the garlic's peeled. Maybe next time. 3, maybe 4. Should we do a 4th? Yeah, 1 more. Right, chop him off in there. Then one of my onions. They've got to get eaten. They've been drying out in the summer house all this time. Red onions as well, these were. Lovely red onions. Right, in with your onions. Cannot see me because I'm boiling from cutting onions. So, look at olive oil. Look at heat. Little black pepper. Don't worry too much about the fact that everything is so roughly chopped in here. Everything is obviously going to get cooked down with the soup. So we just brown these off so that they have the right flavour, to be honest. I didn't want to handle the cayenne pepper. A little bit goes in here, and I add a little bit more to taste, to be honest. Took a secret ingredient out of the fridge. I'll let you know what that is in a bit. Another secret ingredient, just a little knob of butter. That is just nicing up right about now. And what I do now is I'll add my pumpkin, which you saw me season up a little bit earlier. Give that a little mix around. Simple soup. Put on the kettle for the stock. You know what I mean? Sorry about the ad-libs. It's how I cook. I use vegetable stock because I'm vegetarian, but there's no reason why you can't use chicken stock. I don't know if I'd use beef stock for this, but chicken stock, it tastes awesome with this, I think. Throw them in. It's not quite enough liquid, so I'm going to add a bit more. Add too much because I've got my secret ingredient to add at the end. Just a touch more. And this is the only bit that takes time. I let this cook down for 15 to 20 minutes. So it's been just under 15 minutes. And I think we're done. That's what it needs to look like. Your pumpkin starts to change colour a little bit and lighter, if you like, which means, let me just check one of these with the knife. If your knife goes through like that, can you see? Oh, you can see that one. Yeah, you're ready to go. So that's it. The last thing I'm going to do is add my little secret ingredient, which I told you about. So I don't add too much liquid, and that is a little bit of coconut milk, which changes the whole narrative. I don't always add this. I used it for cooking something I had a bit left and it needs to get used up. So squizzle in here, and I'll make my next batch in a couple of days. So this last squizzle will be for that. So the last thing we're going to do is that's what we've got, is blend this up. Now just before that, once I've done that, I'll add salt to taste. There's a little bit of salt on the pumpkin already, but I'll add salt to taste after I've blended it up and tasted it. You do not have to blend it, you just have to chop your pumpkin up into smaller pieces and your onion up into smaller pieces and a lot smaller pieces, and you would be looking at a nice soup like this at this stage. And there's two ways you can blend it. You can either kind of rough blend it, which is what I'll do first to show you. Which gives you that sort of consistency, which means there's a bit of texture while you're eating it, but I tend to just completely blitz it. So you end up with something about this consistency, if you can see. Beautiful. Just another little caveat, if you're going to rough blend, you need to chop your garlic and onions up before you do that, otherwise you might end up with a big chunk of garlic in your gob. But there you go. Doesn't necessarily need any more salt. The coconut comes through and it's got just the right amount of kick from the cayenne pepper. But you might add, I don't know, it's salty enough for me, but as I say, add salt to taste.